Welcome back to RT Talk, the show where we talk tea over tea. I'm your host, Arthur Price III. So, guys, we're officially back with another episode of RT Talk. And I wanted to record this video kind of during the daytime, but I don't know. I had a bunch of stuff to do today. It's actually Monday now when I'm recording this video, and I lost out on daylight. So I'm actually recording this video at night. It's actually like 2 a.m. right now when I'm recording this video. But I don't know, like I said, like whenever I just have this like want to record a video like energy surge, I usually do. But of course I had to kind of like manipulate things so the lighting comes in right. And I don't really care for this angle, so I apologize for just it kind of looking kind of raunchy because I feel like this angle does look kind of raunchy, not gonna lie. But yeah, so you can kind of even see like my little stuff right here, my washer and dryer. You also got my like vines and like my vinyl record player and also like my vinyl collection, which actually I'll like touch upon that in a later video because why not? And also like with this too, so this is like my like yoga slash meditation area. You got the little mirrors. Actually, my friend bought these for me, and I kind of like put them up and some more like some more greenery. And I also got my little plant right here. Actually, my friend got me this plant a long time ago, but I just didn't really know where to put it. But I ended up buying this like little stand or whatever. It was really cheap. I think I got it for like 10, 15 bucks. And I'm also like burning some incense too. So just want to like set the vibe of everything. But all that aside, I wanted to make this video because I've been talking to people a lot about the dating climate for like our generation. So I would say ages like 20 to 30. Yeah. Also, too, my last video kind of discussing dating and stuff like that blew up. So I think it was like craziest dating experiences. And so I wanted to kind of make like a part two or like a second video talking about like my craziest dating experiences. But I think without a doubt, like this one is probably my craziest story to date. It was a story that actually involves former teammates of mine at LSU. It was just crazy because, again, it's just like the story takes place literally after I got done running track for LSU. But yet I had people who I was on the team with, and mind you, they actually got done running track as well. Basically, I don't want to say sabotage, but kind of were involved in kind of like the downfall of this relationship that I actually found after college. It was one of the things at the time, like when it happened, it did hurt, but I moved on from it. But the reason why I guess like this came up recently is because I was actually like scrolling through TikTok and I saw like this the girl, so we'll actually call her N. She's kind of like in the middle of the story too, because she's actually like the person who I was like talking to slash dating. She actually came up on my TikTok feed for like Valentine's Day. So I don't know. I just feel like it's kind of like the right time to make a video like this because, again, like I've been talking to people recently about like the dating climate. Someone a couple of days ago saw my video, reached out and was like, yo, like you've had some crazy dating experiences. And then like in February, seeing like my quote unquote ex on TikTok scrolling through, I was like, yeah, I think it's probably time to make like another craziest dating video. So that out of the way. Hope you guys enjoy the video. And before we actually get into the video, so we got the namesake of the entire podcast, green tea. So this is a jasmine green tea. We're kind of basic today. I don't have my honey, so it's not really sweet at all, but I think it's nice. Whenever I make green tea, I usually make like a big batch and then save the rest. For this occasion, instead of like reheating it, I just put some ice in it, so I love green tea. I think most of my episodes have actually been with like me drinking like some variation of green tea. But yeah, so that was the iced jasmine green tea that I made. But anyway, let's get into the video. I got done running track at LSU in the spring of 2021. I started talking to one of my friends kind of like in a very romantic way. I would say the fall of 2021. So this was essentially, obviously, like I'm done with college. I'm done running college sports. I'm not a college athlete or whatever. But the girl who was actually a friend of mine, who I actually shot my shot at, the ball went in. We started talking, got to know each other more. and we really liked each other, or at least I thought. Again, me and N started getting close after I was completely done with college. She was still in college. I think she had like 2 more years left or something. Yeah, I was done with college. She was still in college. So that also kind of plays a factor into this as well. Even though things were initially going very, very well, it got to the point to where things just suddenly just fell off a cliff. And it really started, I would say, after our first date, like a first official date. Like I remember we went to a sushi place, got her flowers. It was nice. Like she loved it. We were literally up there talking from, I think I picked her up. It was like at 7, and we were just in my car talking until like 3 a.m. Like it was great. Like we were just yapping, talking about life, and it just felt so natural. I guess I made the mistake of posting her on my social media. And a lot of people reached out to me when I did that, and they were like, no, you shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have done that. And I'm just like, why? Like, this is like my person. Like, this is like the girl I'm talking to. Like, I'm very excited. I like her. She likes me. And this was also coming after a time period where I was actually talking to, or I had this like weird situationship in college as well. And so it just felt nice to essentially go from something toxic to something that felt really, really good. It wasn't forced. This person, at least at the time, I thought really, really liked me. And so like I was excited, which was why like I posted it on my social media. Like I posted her and I to my Instagram story, and she was like holding her roses that I got her and stuff. And I was like, this is nice. Like it felt nice. Like she was geeked out from like smiling from like ear to ear. I was smiling from ear to ear. It was really beautiful. And like a lot of people did enjoy it, but that same number of people essentially be like, no, like you shouldn't have done that. So yeah. So a little bit after that, I actually noticed that some of my former teammates, and these were teammates who also got done running track at LSU too, were actually trying to quote unquote slide up on N, the girl I was talking to. And I mean, she even told me some of this too. It was like 3 or 4 different teammates. And I was just like, what is going on? Like I never experienced something like that before, where it's like I post somebody and like I wasn't thinking anything crazy of it, and then like a week or so later, now all of a sudden all these like people that I don't talk to anymore, that I haven't seen in months, almost close to a year at this point, now all of a sudden it's like they're sliding in this girl's DMs, all because like I posted her and stuff. And so I remember the conversation we had, and I told her, I was like, I can't force you to block them, but I think it says a lot if you do essentially kind of like respond to like their messages or like their advances and stuff like that. She agreed, and she didn't, at least like from my perspective, she didn't. However, I think that was kind of like the downfall of everything, because as time progressed, it was almost as if she was kind of like on the fence. It was like some days like the energy was there, some days the energy wasn't, and that was a complete 180 to what I experienced like early on during like our like dating slash talking, whatever it was. I really don't know. It wasn't until my birthday in February. So again, so the story takes place from 2021 to 2022. So I started talking to the girl officially, I would say fall of 2021, and everything kind of ended around like the spring of 2022. And so for my birthday, I invited her and her roommate out to Bourbon Street because, why not? And her vibe the entire night was just off. Like she was being rude, like not even just to me, but to her roommate as well. And I was just like shocked. I was like, this isn't the person that like I knew you to be. Like you're nice, you're sweet, but for whatever reason now you're just kind of acting like off. And even her roommate acknowledged like, yeah, like she's kind of acting like off and stuff like that. And so I remember like my cousin at the time, I actually invited her and her boyfriend out as well, just because like, it's my birthday celebration. I remember introducing the girl, so N, to my cousin, and my cousin comes back to me and she's like, that girl doesn't like you like that. And I was just like, what do you mean? Like I've been talking to her for so long, like everything's going right, I was excited. And she was like, cousin Arthur, that girl doesn't like you like that. And I was just like, okay. So yeah, time progressed and everything, and over time, like my cousin was right. I just kind of realized like N didn't really like me like that, and I kind of cut things off. I wasn't like, okay, we can't be friends anymore, but I was like, I don't want to like talk like romantically anymore. Yeah, time kind of progressed again. And I'd say everything ended in February, but then she actually texted me back in April and was just like like very apologetic for the kind of stuff that she like put me through. And why that was very weird was because I was essentially getting that message from her the same week that an alum, one of the guys that actually was like trying to advance on her on social media, I was actually racing against him. So it was kind of auspicious in a way to basically have your quote unquote ex text you the same week you're going to see or compete against somebody, the same person who was making advances on said ex. You see what I'm saying? I remember like approaching the guy, I think it was like a day before we actually raced against each other, and he was kind of just like being very avoidant, all that stuff. And mind you, like I said, like this is like college drama post college. So in a way, I was kind of like defensive because I'm just like, hey, look, like any beef or whatever problems you guys had with me, that's college. Like, we're past that. This is like my life post college. I want to do things that are like making me happy, all that stuff. So it just kind of it made me very angry that people from a former aspect of my life were seemingly quote unquote ruining what I had going on now. You see what I'm saying? I don't know. Let me guys know what you think about that. Time kind of progressed a little bit more and I started like talking back with N again, the girl in question. But I remembered my cousin's words and I was just like, hold on, something doesn't feel right. Because again, this girl hit me up the same week. Mind you, we hadn't spoken for like 2 months. But she just suddenly hit me up the same week I'm competing against somebody who I know for a fact was like making advances on her. So I don't know. I looked through her like follow listing on Instagram, and sure enough, she was actually following the guy back. No mutual follows, by the way. They didn't have any mutual follows. And actually, when I was talking to her, so like when we were like a quote unquote thing, she was not following this guy back. So it made me realize that she must have did this right after we got done talking. What kind of gave more credence to it was because the guy in question, like he's actually an Olympian or whatever. So, kudos to him, sure. But the girl's friends, so N's friends, two of them didn't think I was good enough for her, which is crazy because her roommate at the time was like, yeah, no, like Arthur's a great guy. But two of her closest friends were like kind of telling her like, no, like you can do better. And I don't know, like one of her friends was trying to get her to do some toxic stuff. I don't know. Okay. It was very immature. And I think that's really what it came down to, was just the immaturity or the maturity difference, right? So like I'm out of college and she was actually like still in college, right? And she was younger than me. So that maturity gap really, I think, is what kind of sold it as far as like, okay, this isn't going to work out. But I think what really frustrated me about that situation was I really took a liking to her. I thought she took a liking to me as well. But it was just the fact that these people who I had no associations with whatsoever anymore really engaged in, I don't want to say ruining this for me. But again, post college, like these are former teammates of mine and they got done running college too. So no one's running college track at LSU. And yet they were still stalking essentially like my life. They were following my life. They were stalking this girl that I was talking to. And I think a lot of that kind of just, it was a lot to handle. Yeah, I don't know. It was just a lot to handle. And so I walked away from that situation like with a full smile on my head. Actually, like I went on a date, I think it was like a month later. So after like I just completely got done. Like I ended up blocking her on everything, even like TikTok actually. I'd say probably years later, I actually decided to unblock her, at least on TikTok, because I kept like seeing her name pop through my like block list or whatever. So I was just like, okay, sure. I don't want to see the name again. Randomly, like around Valentine's Day, like this year, she actually like, or a video of hers actually came up on my TikTok feed, and it was like a Galentine's Day thing. I obviously didn't watch it because I'm just like, no, but still. So why I wanted to kind of like discuss that story in detail. And again, like really this is like a story I probably like need like an hour video for, but I don't think anyone would actually watch an hour video. It was just one of those things that kind of showcases why dating is very difficult in this day and age. And on top of that, why, at least like in my opinion, I don't think I'll ever like have like a real girlfriend or at least get married. I don't like saying that, but it's kind of difficult because again, when I met this girl, we were already friends and then we got to know each other. The energy was there. But the minute we had other people, I guess, involved in our like dynamic, that's when I think everything went to doo doo. But again, in the message that she actually sent me, so in April and stuff like that, like I said, she was very apologetic and she straight up said that we didn't work out because of her. Like it was her fault. Like she verbatim said that she sabotaged the relationship, which I thought was crazy because I'm just like, so you sabotaged it instead of just telling me like, hey, I don't want this. So you put yourself through something crazy. You put me through something crazy. It's one thing to like break up as like, I guess like romantically, but it's another thing when it's like you guys started out as friends. So you kind of lost that trust with the person in general because you kind of expected them to at least do right by you as a friend if they're not going to do right by you as like romantically, I guess. I don't know, but it was definitely a situation that was crazy because like I said, like I had people from college ruin, or at the time I felt like involved themselves in my life post college, i.e. former teammates. And if they ever watch this video, they know who they are, and I'll just be real, not throwing shade, all of them are pretty lame. We're not gonna get into that. This isn't like a channel to shade people, whatever. I just tell the story as it is, and I wanted to again highlight this story because it kind of, like I said, it really reveals a lot about the dating climate that we're kind of in, and just like some more crazy things that I've like been involved with myself. I've seen recently like people don't want to post each other on social media, and I've always had a problem with that. I'm just like, well, if you like this person, why won't you post them? But then it's kind of hard to argue against it when I had a situation where I posted someone and then everything kind of blew up in my face, you see? But again, I feel like if you really trust the person, I think that's why like the whole not posting someone on social media is a thing, because they really don't trust the person. And in a lot of situations, you don't even know a person is like about to get engaged or in a relationship until they post like those engagement photos or like a pregnancy picture. I don't know. It's again, I feel like people obviously have a right to be private, but I don't feel like private should be secret. I think it's good for people to know like, hey, you are in a relationship. So yeah, nothing crazy happens, right? But at the same time, it feels like some people don't want the world, the world doesn't have to know. It's like they're so secretive about having a relationship, and it's just like, we don't have to know the person you're with, but why are you kind of moving as if you're single? You see what I'm saying? So I know people kind of have their own beliefs about that, but in my opinion, it's because of the lack of trust. And in a lot of ways, those same people kind of feel like they're like locked in the minute they get that engagement ring or go across the aisle. But I have situations where people have done that and still cheated. Anyway, so the video is kind of already kind of rolling a little bit longer than what I wanted, but I definitely wanted to know your guys' thoughts on like the story. Was my reaction valid? Should I have reacted more? Because like I said, I just kind of walked away from everything because it was just already just very stressful. I was already depleted from going from like one toxic relationship, thinking that, okay, this new relationship is good, and then it kind of honestly being even worse. I was just kind of depleted. So the best thing I did was just walk away. Yeah, I just think like that story was crazy because, like I said, these were people from college who were actively engaging and advancing on someone who I was getting to know. And mind you, like I said, I was out, like all of us were out of college except for my quote unquote ex. And yeah, and then also too, kind of a side note, when I did approach like some of them, so like I said, like I did approach the guy who was like the main person kind of advancing on her. He did not want to talk to me, ignored me, kind of ran away actually. But another person, I was like, hey, like, why are you trying to like get at in? Like, we're talking, like, why is this the case? He denied it, but it was funny because N actually gave me screenshots prior of him like actually liking her pictures and stuff. And like I said, he still denied it, which was kind of funny. But when I sent him the pictures, like showing like, hey, no, like you're lying, he just like completely blocked my number and stuff. Like, so I don't know. Like, people really, I feel like honestly just kind of move a little bit crazy in general. I guess I don't know. I guess overall this video was kind of exploring like whether or not you should post your significant other on social media. I don't know. It's just kind of like an open-ended style video, just kind of yapping. I guess my opinion, just kind of conclude everything, is it's hard for me to not do that because if I'm with like a beautiful woman, I'm very excited and stuff like that, then yeah, I'm gonna be geeked out. If I have to kind of move like that when I'm talking to someone, I don't know if I actually want that relationship. It's just I don't know. Dating, like I said, dating in general is already very difficult, but I think it's gotten definitely worse in 2026. So I don't know. But like I said, that was like a story from like what, 3, 4, whatever years ago. But I definitely want to highlight it because I think that's a story that kind of beats my argument in like, oh, well, I think people should post each other. And then it's like, well, when I did post this girl I was talking to, everything went bad. So, and I mean, there's more to the story, obviously, but that's pretty much the gist of it. So, I was talking to this girl. My former teammates basically did some shady stuff. Her energy was off, but yada, yada, yada. Again, let me know what you guys think. I know this is kind of like a very unstructured ST talk. Usually when I make these T talks, by nature they are unstructured because I want them to be like that. It's supposed to be kind of like just random or whatever. So it's really good tea. So I'm gonna finish drinking this tea, edit this video, let y'all go, take some probably take like a nap or whatever before I go like to practice and stuff like that. Because like I said, it's pretty late. Yeah, I work out and train and practice and stuff in the morning. So anyway, love you guys. Definitely let me know what you guys think about just everything I said, the story in itself. And if you guys want me to talk more about it, I guess I can, but it will be a long video, but I don't think it's really worth discussing in detail. I just wanted to include that to basically kind of throw it out there like, oh, well, like, should you post someone on social media, or like, how do you navigate through the situation of not trusting someone? Did I do the right thing by just like walking away? Let me know what you guys think. Love to hear it. Till next time, peace out.